I was on my way to propose when I stopped for lilies. I walked into a little shop that smelled like rain and cut stems, and I saw my ex crouched over a bucket of roses, while two girls with my eyes peeked out from behind a cart. Yeah, that happened. In 3 breaths, my planned life flipped like a coin and landed on a side I didn't know existed. My name is Cole Mercer. I built a logistics company out of stubborn nights and bad coffee. I made my first million before 30, and I learned early that if you grow up counting quarters for field trips, you move fast, or you get laughed at, you know what I mean. Moving fast got me out. It also taught me a bad habit. When something got messy, I outran it. That afternoon, I was headed to Harbor Ridge private room pianist ring, in my pocket for Sloane Sterling, who looked like a magazine cover and moved through life like red velvet rope, always opens. It wasn't a love story, so much as a merger with candles and oysters, and I told myself that was maturity, right? You build what looks good on paper. Then a crooked sign stopped me mid-lane, Lemon and Laurel, a flower shop, wedged between a bakery and a radio repair place that time forgot. I went in thinking lilies, and the bell over the door gave a small jingle like it knew more than I did. June Alvarez looked up, some eyes I used to know, and behind her 2 girls in paint-splattered overalls whispered, "Amma." We finished watering the baby daisies, and those faces. They didn't hit me like a movie, they hit me like gravity-changing rooms. I bought the lilies, we barely touched fingers, and when I sat in my car, the ring in my pocket felt like a kettlebell. I didn't make it to dinner. For 3 days, I moved like a ghost, wearing my own suit, until I walked back in with no script. 5 minutes, June said, nodding to the back. The room smelled like green and bleach, a battered table, a cot with 2 small backpacks slumped like they lived there. I didn't sit. "Are they mine?" I asked, the words coming out crooked because honesty gets rusty when you don't use it. "Yes," she said, clean as a blade. "They're 5. They like dinosaur stickers and strawberry yogurt. They get car sick on winding roads. They're mine, and they're yours." My legs gave up and I sat. "Why didn't you tell me?" She laughed once, tired more than angry. "Tell you what, Cole? That the guy who ghosted would be a dad to twins. You didn't leave an address, you left a silence, so I made a choice. I wasn't going to chase a maybe. I told her I wanted to know them. My voice sounded like gravel and a promise, and she didn't blink. "Don't you dare walk in unless you plan to stay," she said. "You don't get to be a weekend highlight. If this is guilt or curiosity, buy the flowers and go." "It isn't," I said. "I didn't know, now I do. I can't unknow it. I'll earn whatever you'll let me earn." The door cracked. 4 blue eyes peeked in. "Mama, the van is here." And I learned in the same breath what it's like to want to be the person someone small looks for when they're excited. The first time I left Lemon and Laurel, I was a stranger. The second time I walked out a father. Not in their eyes yet, but in the one place that counts the part of yourself that stops lying. So I started showing up. Not speeches, presence. I learned drop-off times and supplier hours and how afternoon light turns glass buckets into stained glass. On the 4th visit, Lark made a crooked dandelion crown and jammed it on my head. "Now you're the mulch king," she said. And Wren, the quieter one, gave a slow nod like she was blessing it. I've signed 7-figure contracts without blinking, but kneeling on chalky sidewalk, wearing a weed crown, made my throat burn in a way I couldn't expense. June watched from the counter, arms crossed, not smiling. Not smiling either. I didn't ask about missing years. I hadn't bought the right to the answers. I learned the small things instead. Wren lines plant labels in perfect rows. Lark mixes every paint into a color she calls rocket berry. Both scrunch their noses when they think too hard. A Saturday rush tested us wedding order, mother of the bride measuring oxygen with complaints, June drowning in lists. Give me a clipboard, I said. If you break anything, you're paying full price, she said. Deal. I carried arrangements like heartbeats, braced an arch against ocean wind, soothed a panic with the calm voice I usually save for servers on fire. At midnight, the van rattled home two small shapes, slept in a nest of blankets and crayons. I tucked the blanket over Wren's foot, and she flinched, then melted, like even asleep she knew someone bigger than the dark was near. June didn't say thank you. She didn't have to. Then the twist walked in wearing 6-inch heels and a look that turns rooms into stages. Sloane swung the door like she owned the lease. I've been patient, she said. Eyes on me, you disappear, and a friend says you're playing house in a flower shop. June's spine went steel. Can I help you? I'm here for him, Sloane said. He was supposed to propose on Tuesday. We had a table and a ring and a plan, didn't we, Cole? The air thinned. Not here, I said. No. Exactly here, she said. Are you telling her you almost asked me to marry you the day you stopped for flowers? June's voice didn't raise. You were going to propose. I didn't, I said, because I saw this. I saw you. I saw them. And I realized my plan didn't look like a life. June set the receipt book down like evidence and walked into the back without slamming the door. That restraint hurt worse than a slam. I knocked that night like someone who knows what he could lose. You should have told me, she said, not just about her, about everything. I thought if I handed you the whole messy box, you'd close it before you looked, I said. I'm still learning how to be honest. With you and with me. The girls asked where you went, she said. I told them you had a meeting. I'm not going anywhere, I said, unless you ask me to. After that, I let my feet do the talking. Morning after morning, I swept floors, hauled buckets, ran to the supply yard, left coffee with June scrawled on the lid. Trust isn't glued, it's sewn. Same stitch over and over until the seam holds. She forwarded me the school calendar. I sat in a too-small chair while Ms. Ree said, Wren traces each word when she reads, and Lark corrects the class goldfish facts with a raised eyebrow. They drew a picture of a blue car with 4 stick figures and made me tape it inside my glove box so I wouldn't forget where home is. June once said small shops pay a tax for being small. I called 3 engineers and said nights only, no press, we're building Porchlight. A quiet platform that maps local suppliers, predicts order windows, smooths routes, not for headlines, for people like June. When the beta worked, I brought it to the counter. You built this for us, she said. For whoever needs it, I said. But it started here. I'll try it, she said. No promises. 2 words that felt better than any standing ovation. We told the girls together. There's something you should know about Mr. Cole, June said. He's your dad. The word landed like it was always supposed to live there. Lark climbed into my lap. Does that mean you have to come to all the birthday parties? Everyone, I said. Good, she said, you need a better crown. Life doesn't turn into a montage just because you want it to. The Lark spiked a fever that went neon red and didn't care about schedules. I beat every light to the ER and sat in a plastic chair holding a small clammy hand while June watched the monitor blink. It was just a virus, try telling that to a chest. The nurse asked if we were married. June said no, and something passed between us like a question that would wait. I started staying over when mornings were brutal and deliveries early, waking to cartoons and coffee and a kid's foot in my ribs, richer than any scoreboard I used to worship. I told June I loved her after a small scare. A shelf edge cut her arm. We bandaged it on the porch under the Harbor Ridge moon. I said, I'm terrified not of life anymore, of losing you. Then don't, she said, and the kiss wasn't fireworks. It was roots finding home. We got engaged at the conservatory by a lily pond. No audience, no spectacle, just a simple ask. I'm not doing next steps anymore, I'm doing home. The wedding was in Lemon and Laurel's backyard, petals everywhere. Wren dropped the ring, Lark found it like treasure. Our vows didn't use the word perfect once. For a minute there, I thought the credits might roll. The morning after, a glossy article with Sloane's byline called me a man who traded a diamond for a redemption arc, said I built Porchlight, as penance quoted old texts where I sounded like a spreadsheet, because armor talks like that when it's scared. Comments lit like dry grass. Opportunist hero liar dad. I shut my phone off. June didn't. She read it all because she's built from the kind of truth that doesn't tremble. Are we going to let other people write this for us? She asked. No, I said, but I can't control what they think. You can't, she said, you can control whether you stay when it's ugly. So I stayed. We went to the park, I pushed swings, we made grilled cheese, I stepped back from a media panel I didn't need. June posted a photo of 4 hands around a messy bouquet and wrote, "We're busy living." No statement, just time. Here's where I leave the door cracked on purpose. Some folks will always believe the neat version that the rich guy calculated a family like an investment. Others saw daily life, not headlines, and made up their own minds. Me, I'll earn the words husband and dad with sweat, not speeches. Porchlight expands next month. I'll be home for bedtime, and on Friday I'm lifting boxes for the school book fair because Wren says they're heavy and I'm strong now. You tell me. Did I do right, breaking a plan the moment I recognized the life I actually wanted? Or is a promise even if it's to the wrong future? Is forgiveness something you say or something you prove? Drop your take in the comments. Tell me where you've seen love judged like a headline, or when you chose family over the script people wrote for you. If chosen family feels as strong as the one you're born into, leave a heart. I'll see it, and I'll show up tomorrow anyway.